In a world that never stops talking, where every opinion is amplified and every action dissected, what if the real power lies not in your words, but in your silence? Ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca didn't just preach restraint, they weaponized it. Silence is strength, they argued, a radical idea in an era of chaos, and one that still cuts through the noise today. This isn't about staying quiet out of fear. This is about mastering your impulses, conserving your energy, and letting your results roar louder than your excuses. In this script, we'll dismantle the modern obsession with over-explaining, expose why validation seeking is a trap, and reveal how Stoic silence can become your ultimate strategy for winning in negotiations, relationships, and the battle for self-mastery. What if every word you speak weakens your power? The Stoics knew a secret 99% of people ignore. Why did Steve Jobs wear the same outfit daily? It's not minimalism. It's a war tactic rooted in 2,000-year-old philosophy. They begged Marcus Aurelius to speak. His silence made Rome's enemies surrender. Here's how to use it. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Justification. We live in a world that thrives on noise, endless debates, constant justifications, and the relentless need to explain ourselves. From social media to the workplace, people demand explanations for every decision, opinion, or action. But what if this compulsion to justify ourselves is nothing more than an illusion? What if the act of explaining ourselves is not only unnecessary, but also a trap that drains our energy and weakens our resolve? The Stoic philosophers, masters of self-mastery and inner strength, understood this deeply. They recognized that the need to justify oneself often stems from a desire for external validation, a futile pursuit that only serves to erode our inner peace. Instead of wasting time explaining, they advocated for a life of action, integrity, and quiet confidence. As Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In this chapter, we'll explore why the need to justify ourselves is an illusion, how it weakens us, and how Stoic principles can help us break free from this cycle. We'll also examine the power of silence and action as tools for reclaiming our strength and living authentically. The trap of justification. The need to justify ourselves often arises from a fear of judgment or rejection. We want others to understand us, to approve of our choices, and to validate our existence. But this desire is rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. As the Stoics observed, people will always have opinions, and many of these opinions are based on ignorance, bias, or envy. Epictetus, the former slave-turned-Stoic philosopher, put it bluntly, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" In other words, no matter what you do or say, there will always be critics. Trying to justify yourself to them is like trying to fill a bottomless pit. It's a waste of time and energy. The modern world amplifies this trap. Social media, for instance, has created a culture of over-explanation. People feel compelled to post lengthy captions justifying their choices, from what they eat to how they parent. But as Seneca wisely noted, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The fear of being misunderstood or judged is often worse than the actual consequences of not explaining ourselves. The Stoic alternative: action over words. The Stoics believe that actions speak louder than words. Instead of explaining who you are or what you stand for, they argued, simply live your values. Let your actions be your testimony. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, embodied this principle. Despite ruling one of the most powerful empires in history, he rarely felt the need to justify his decisions. Instead, he focused on doing what was right, guided by his Stoic principles. In Meditations he wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Things can't shape our decisions by themselves." This reminds us that our worth is not determined by others' opinions but by our own actions and choices. Consider the example of a Stoic sage who remains silent in the face of criticism. While others might rush to defend themselves, the sage understands that silence is not a sign of weakness but of strength. As Seneca observed, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Living authentically, without the need for justification, is a courageous act in itself. The power of silence. Silence is a powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal. It allows us to conserve our energy, maintain our composure, and avoid unnecessary conflict. When we stop explaining ourselves, we take back control of our narrative. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Everything else, including others' opinions, is beyond our control. He said, "You become what you give your attention to." If we constantly seek validation or feel the need to justify ourselves, we give our power away. But when we choose silence, we reclaim that power. Silence also has a psychological impact on others. When you refuse to engage in arguments or justify your actions, you project confidence and self-assurance. As the Roman philosopher Publius Cyrus noted, "I often regret that I have spoken, never that I have been silent." Silence forces others to confront their own assumptions and biases, often leading them to question their judgments. Practical steps to stop justifying yourself. Identify the root of your need to explain. Ask yourself why you feel the need to justify your actions. Is it fear of judgment? A desire for approval? Understanding the root cause can help you address it. Practice Stoic reflection. At the end of each day, reflect on your actions. Did you act in alignment with your values? If so, there's no need to explain yourself to others. Embrace silence. The next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Instead, respond with silence, or a simple, "I stand by my decision." Focus on what you can control. Remind yourself that others' opinions are beyond your control. Focus instead on living authentically and acting with integrity. Use Stoic affirmations. Repeat Stoic mantras like Marcus Aurelius's, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject." This can help you detach from the need for validation. The need to justify ourselves is a trap, one that drains our energy, weakens our resolve, and distracts us from what truly matters. The Stoics offer a radical alternative. Stop explaining. Start acting. Let your life be your testimony. As Seneca reminds us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." When we stop craving validation and approval, we free ourselves from the illusion of justification. We become richer in spirit, stronger in character, and more aligned with our true selves. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength to remain silent. The strength to act without explanation. The strength to win, not by convincing others, but by living unapologetically. This is the Stoic path to true power, and it begins with letting go of the illusion of justification. Chapter 2. The Power of Mystery. Silence has always been associated with strength, wisdom, and control. Throughout history, those who spoke little but commanded attention were often the most influential figures. But why is this? Why do we naturally respect those who remain reserved? The answer lies in the power of mystery. When you speak less, you create an aura of intrigue. People begin to wonder what you know, what you think, and what you are planning. This curiosity gives you an advantage, an unspoken authority that demands respect. In contrast, those who talk excessively reveal too much about themselves, often exposing their weaknesses in the process. In any social interaction, silence shifts the balance of power. The more someone talks, the more they disclose about their emotions, fears, and thought processes. Meanwhile, the silent observer remains in control, absorbing information without revealing their own position. This is why skilled negotiators, leaders, and philosophers practice strategic silence. They understand that restraint in speech can influence the actions of others. By withholding their thoughts, they allow the other person to reveal more, giving them a psychological edge. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This principle highlights the importance of listening over speaking. When you are silent, you are not just avoiding unnecessary words. You are gathering knowledge, understanding others, and positioning yourself for a stronger response when the time comes. Think about the most respected figures in history: leaders, warriors, and philosophers. Many of them were not known for their loud voices, but for their ability to command attention through presence alone. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic thinker. He ruled with wisdom and strength, yet his writings and meditations reveal a man who valued restraint in speech. He understood that unnecessary words weaken a person's authority. He wrote, "Never be overheard complaining, nor even seen doing it." By avoiding excessive speech, you prevent unnecessary criticism and misunderstandings. You maintain your dignity and allow your actions to define you rather than your words. One of the most effective ways to control a conversation is through silence. The person who speaks the least holds the most power because they are not emotionally invested in proving themselves. Instead, they remain calm, composed, and observant. Imagine 2 people in a debate. One is passionately explaining their viewpoint, raising their voice and desperately trying to convince the other. Meanwhile, the other person listens patiently, only responding with carefully chosen words. Who appears more powerful? The one who speaks with restraint. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." Knowing when to remain silent and when to speak is an art. Those who master it can control the direction of any conversation, making others feel uncertain, intrigued, or even intimidated. Mystery makes people take you seriously. When you don't explain every thought, others assume you have something important to say. Your words become more valuable. In leadership, this is especially powerful. A leader who speaks sparingly but with precision commands more respect than one who constantly talks without purpose. The greatest military generals and rulers understood that their presence alone was enough to inspire confidence. They did not need to explain every decision. They acted decisively, allowing results to speak for themselves. To apply the power of mystery in your own life, consider these Stoic-inspired strategies. Speak only when necessary. Before you respond to a question or comment, ask yourself, is this worth saying? If not, stay silent. Your words will carry more weight when they are spoken with intention. Master the art of the pause. In conversations, silence between responses creates tension. It forces others to consider your words more carefully. A well-placed pause can make your point far more impactful than a rushed explanation. Let actions speak for themselves. Rather than explaining your abilities, demonstrate them. As Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let your results show your competence. Avoid defending yourself unnecessarily. Not every criticism or misunderstanding requires an explanation. Sometimes remaining silent is the best response, as it prevents you from lowering yourself into meaningless debates. Observe more, speak less. The more you listen, the more you understand. While others reveal their thoughts, emotions, and weaknesses, you remain in control. The greatest strength is not found in loud words, but in quiet confidence. When you speak less, you force others to pay attention. When you act with purpose, you eliminate the need for explanations. As the Stoics taught, wisdom comes from restraint. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself or justify your actions, pause. Instead of speaking, observe. Instead of reacting, reflect. Let your silence be your strength. In the end, it is not the loudest voice that commands respect. It is the one that speaks only when necessary, with words that carry true weight. Chapter 3. Emotional Control and Inner Peace. The urge to explain ourselves is often rooted in insecurity, a deep-seated need for validation, understanding, and approval. We want others to see us, to affirm our worth, and to align with our perspective. But this need for external validation is a fragile foundation for self-worth. True strength, as the Stoics taught, lies in cultivating emotional control and inner peace. When you stop seeking validation and instead embrace silence, you reclaim your power. You no longer react impulsively or get drawn into unnecessary conflicts. You become the master of your emotions, rather than a slave to them. In this chapter, we'll explore how the Stoic practice of silence fosters emotional control, why inner peace is the ultimate form of strength, and how you can apply these principles to your daily life. Through the wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, we'll uncover the path to unshakable calm and self-mastery. The need to explain ourselves often stems from a lack of confidence in our own choices and beliefs. We fear being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. This fear drives us to over-explain, to seek reassurance, and to justify our actions. But as the Stoics understood, this behavior only reinforces our insecurity. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who emphasized the importance of self-discipline, observed, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, the opinions of others should not dictate your sense of self-worth. When you stop seeking external validation, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of approval and rejection. Consider this. Every time you explain yourself, you're essentially asking for permission to exist as you are. But why should anyone else have the power to grant or deny that permission? As Seneca wisely noted, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. The fear of judgment is often worse than the judgment itself. Silence is not just the absence of speech, it is a deliberate choice to withhold reaction. It is a tool for cultivating emotional control and maintaining inner peace. When you remain silent in the face of criticism, provocation, or conflict, you deny others the power to disturb your state of mind. Epictetus taught, "If someone is able to provoke you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." This means that your emotional reactions are not caused by external events, but by your interpretation of those events. By choosing silence, you take control of your mind and refuse to be complicit in your own disturbance. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, echoed this sentiment in Meditations. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this: and you will find strength. When you stop reacting impulsively, you create space for rational thought and deliberate action. You become the calm in the storm rather than the storm itself. Inner peace is not the absence of conflict or challenge. It is the ability to remain calm and centered in the midst of chaos. It is the ultimate form of strength because it cannot be taken away by external circumstances. The Stoics believed that true happiness and peace come from within. As Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By delaying your reaction, by choosing silence, you give yourself time to process your emotions and respond with wisdom rather than impulsivity. Consider the example of a Stoic sage who remained silent in the face of insults. While others might lash out in anger, the sage understands that anger is a temporary emotion that only clouds judgment. As Epictetus observed, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. By refusing to engage, the sage retains mastery over their own emotions and actions. Practical steps to cultivate emotional control and inner peace. Pause. Before reacting, when faced with criticism or provocation, take a deep breath and pause before responding. This simple act of delay can prevent impulsive reactions and give you time to choose a more thoughtful response. Practice detachment. Remind yourself that the opinions of others are beyond your control. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Detach from the need for validation and focus on living in alignment with your values. Use Stoic affirmations. Repeat Stoic mantras to reinforce your emotional control. For example, I am not disturbed by the opinions of others. My peace is my power. I choose silence over conflict. At the end of each day, reflect on your reactions. Did you maintain your composure? Did you choose silence over unnecessary conflict? Use this reflection to improve your emotional control over time. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions. Let go of what is beyond your control, including others' opinions and judgments. The Stoic path to emotional control and inner peace is not about suppressing emotions, but about mastering them. It is about recognizing that your emotions are not caused by external events, but by your interpretation of those events. By choosing silence, you take control of your mind and refuse to be complicit in your own disturbance. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you fill your mind with thoughts of peace, self-assurance, and resilience, you create a foundation of inner strength that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Seneca, too, offered timeless wisdom on this subject. We are not given a short life, but we make it short. And we are not supplied with a poor life, but we make it poor through our own actions. By wasting our energy on unnecessary explanations and emotional reactions, we impoverish our lives. But by cultivating emotional control and inner peace, we enrich our lives and unlock our true potential. The urge to explain ourselves is a sign of insecurity, a need for validation that ultimately weakens us. But when we embrace silence, we cultivate emotional control and inner peace. We become the masters of our emotions rather than the victims of them. As Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. True freedom lies in the ability to remain calm and centered, no matter what challenges or criticisms we face. By practicing Stoic silence, we reclaim our power and unlock the strength to live authentically and unapologetically. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose thoughts of peace, self-assurance, and resilience. Choose silence over explanation, action over reaction, and inner peace over external validation. This is the Stoic path to emotional control and the ultimate form of strength. Chapter 4. Winning without words. In the realm of human interaction, not every battle requires the clashing of words. Some of the most profound victories are achieved through the power of silence. Consider a debate where one participant fervently argues their point, while the other listens intently, offering only a single, well-considered response. Often, it is the latter who exudes strength and confidence. This concept aligns seamlessly with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes that actions speak louder than words. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium, teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. Central to this philosophy is the belief that virtue, moral excellence, is the sole good, and that it is manifested through actions rather than words. The Stoics posited that wisdom is not merely a theoretical understanding, but a practical application in daily life. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, encapsulated this idea succinctly. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This statement underscores the importance of embodying virtue through deeds, rather than engaging in endless discussions about it. It suggests that living virtuously is more impactful than merely talking about virtue. Similarly, Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Epictetus emphasizes that one's beliefs and values should be evident through their actions, rendering verbal explanations unnecessary. This approach not only demonstrates authenticity, but also commands respect from others. In conflicts or negotiations, silence can be a formidable tool. When one refrains from immediate rebuttals or defenses, it often unsettles the opposing party, leading them to reveal more than they intended. This strategy allows the silent individual to gain a deeper understanding of the situation and respond more effectively. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and statesman, recognized the value of silence. Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings. Through silence, one can observe, reflect, and choose the most appropriate course of action, often leading to more favorable outcomes than impulsive speech. Leading by example. In leadership, actions set the standard. Leaders who demonstrate integrity, diligence, and empathy inspire their teams more effectively than those who merely talk about these values. Building credibility. Consistently delivering results builds trust and credibility. When others see your commitment and achievements, there's little need for self-promotion or justification. Enhancing negotiation outcomes. In negotiations, patience and attentive listening can reveal underlying interests and positions, allowing for more strategic responses. Personal development. Focusing on self-improvement through actionable steps leads to genuine growth, whereas merely discussing aspirations without action yields little progress. Self-reflection. Regularly assess whether your actions align with your values. Journaling can be a useful tool for this practice. Mindful speech. Before speaking, consider whether your words add value to the situation. If they don't, it might be better to remain silent. Purposeful action. Set clear intentions for your actions, ensuring they reflect your principles and contribute positively to your goals. The Stoic emphasis on action over words teaches us that true strength and virtue are demonstrated through deeds. By embodying our values and allowing our actions to speak for themselves, we not only achieve personal excellence but also inspire and influence others. In a world inundated with noise and rhetoric, the quiet power of consistent, virtuous action stands out, leading to victories far more profound than those won through words alone. Chapter 5. The art of selective speech. Silence is often misunderstood as a lack of engagement or a sign of weakness. But in Stoicism, silence is a deliberate and powerful choice. It is not about never speaking. It is about speaking with purpose. The Stoics believed that words are a tool, and like any tool, they should be used wisely and sparingly. Every word should serve a purpose, whether to teach, to inspire, or to lead. When you stop explaining yourself unnecessarily, you gain control over your words and your life. You learn to speak only when it truly matters, and when you do, people listen. This is the essence of true strength. In this chapter, we'll explore the Stoic art of selective speech, why it matters, and how you can master it to command respect, influence others, and live a more intentional life. The Stoics placed great emphasis on the power of words and the dangers of misusing them. They believed that speech should be purposeful, measured, and aligned with virtue. Empty chatter, gossip, and unnecessary explanations were seen as a waste of energy and a distraction from what truly matters. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who emphasized self-discipline, warned, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This simple yet profound advice reminds us that words should never be used carelessly. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? If the answer to any of these questions is no, silence is the better choice. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, also reflected on the importance of selective speech. In Meditations, he wrote, "Let your speech be brief and to the point." This principle of brevity and clarity is a hallmark of Stoic communication. By choosing your words carefully, you convey confidence, authority, and respect for others' time. Silence is not just the absence of speech, it is a form of communication in itself. When used strategically, silence can convey strength, confidence, and self-assurance. It can also create space for reflection, allowing both the speaker and the listener to process information and respond thoughtfully. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and statesman, observed, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is." When you speak sparingly and with purpose, you project a sense of inner calm and self-mastery. Conversely, when you over-explain or engage in idle chatter, you risk undermining your credibility and diluting your message. Consider the example of a leader who speaks only when necessary. Their words carry weight because they are rare and meaningful. As Publilius Cyrus, a Roman philosopher, noted, "I often regret that I have spoken, never that I have been silent." By choosing silence over unnecessary speech, you preserve your energy and maintain your authority. The compulsion to over-explain often stems from a lack of confidence or a fear of being misunderstood. But as the Stoics understood, over-explaining only weakens your position. It signals insecurity and gives others the power to judge or criticize you. Epictetus offered a stark reminder. If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. In other words, it's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. When you stop over-explaining, you demonstrate confidence in your choices and actions. You let your results speak for themselves. Marcus Aurelius also cautioned against the need for external validation. In Meditations, he wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject." This reminds us that the opinions of others are often irrelevant. By refusing to engage in unnecessary explanations, you free yourself from the need for approval and focus on what truly matters. The Stoic art of selective speech is not about being silent all the time. It's about speaking with intention and clarity. When you do speak, your words should serve a purpose, whether to educate, inspire, or lead. Be brief and clear. As Marcus Aurelius advised, let your speech be brief and to the point. Avoid rambling or overloading your message with unnecessary details. Speak with integrity. Ensure that your words align with your values and principles. As Seneca wrote, "Speech is the index of the mind. Let your words reflect your inner character. Listen first. Before speaking, take the time to listen and understand." As Epictetus observed, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Choose the right moment. Timing is everything. Speak when your words will have the greatest impact, not just when you feel the urge to fill the silence. Let your actions speak. Sometimes the most powerful communication is nonverbal. As the Stoics believed, actions speak louder than words. Let your behavior reinforce your message. Pause before speaking. Before responding to a question or comment, take a moment to gather your thoughts. This simple pause can help you avoid impulsive or unnecessary speech. Ask yourself 3 questions before speaking. Ask, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? If the answer to any of these questions is no, remain silent. Focus on understanding others before formulating your response. This not only improves communication, but also reduces the urge to over-explain. Politely but firmly decline to engage in conversations that are unproductive or draining. As Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Reflect on your speech. At the end of each day, reflect on your conversations. Did you speak with purpose? Did you over-explain? Use this reflection to improve your communication over time. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. The less you explain, the more you command respect. The less you react, the more you control. By mastering the art of selective speech, you reclaim your power and live with greater intention and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you stop explaining yourself unnecessarily, you free yourself from the need for validation and focus on what truly matters. In the words of Epictetus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom lies in the ability to control your words, your emotions, and your actions. By embracing Stoic silence and speaking with purpose, you unlock the strength to live authentically and unapologetically. Let your actions be your voice. Let your success be your response. This is the Stoic path to true strength and the art of selective speech. In a world that equates noise with power, the Stoics dared to redefine strength. They understood that silence is not weakness, it's the ultimate act of rebellion, a refusal to play by the rules of a society addicted to validation, outrage, and empty words. The greatest victories are not won in arguments. They're won in the quiet moments, when you choose discipline over impulse, action over apology, and self-mastery over approval. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Stop explaining. Start outliving, outworking, outlasting. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you reclaim a piece of your soul. Every time you let your results speak, you redefine what power looks like. This isn't about winning others over. It's about winning the war within. The Stoics didn't wear silence like armor. They wore it like a second skin. It was their compass in chaos, their shield against distraction, their sword against mediocrity. As Seneca warned, "A man who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." Your silence isn't just a strategy, it's a declaration. A declaration that you are no longer for sale, that your worth isn't up for debate, that your life is not a courtroom. Now go, and let the world wonder how you make it look so easy. If this message resonated with you, hit the subscribe button and join our community. Together, let's embrace the power of silence, the wisdom of Stoicism, and the strength to live unapologetically. Turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson in self-mastery. Because the journey to winning starts here.